Hi friends, it's Lauren. Thanks for joining me back in my craft room today. It's a new Whimsy Stamps release day, the last release of November, and I wanted to share some of the new products like this adorable Christmas deer clear stamp set. I think it is so cute, and I really wanted to color in this penguin sitting on top of a deer that I'm going to color to look like Rudolph. So I'm going to quickly go through my coloring. I'm not going to go into super detail here, but for my deer, I am coloring using my EBs, the more earthy brown colors. I'm going with 3, 2, and 1. I start with my darkest to add in where the shadows will be. I bring in my mid-tone to extend those shadows out, and then my lightest to blend it all together, and that's what helps just give my flat critter some dimension by having darker areas and lighter areas for highlights and shadows. So once I'm all done with that darker brown, I'm going to bring in some cream colors, and I'm going to color the under of my little deer's tail, stomach, neck, and as well as the ears and the eyes and the mouth. And then I'm going to bring in more of my MBs, the more muted browns, to color in the antlers, and eventually I will remember to color in her little spots on the back. For her hooves and the penguin, I'm going to use my brown grays, which were the darkest ones, as I think those are perfect to create a black color. And then the little bell and bag, or the bell ribbon and bag, I used my greens, and then dark reds for my little hat on my penguin, as well as Rudolph's nose. And for the penguin's feet and beak, as well as the bell, I'm going to bring in my BOs and color them in to be kind of a softer orange. And then I'm bringing out my lightest brown gray, as well as my blender to color in the white part of the penguin. And then I'm going to bring in my lightest ice gray and add some kind of speckles to where it would be kind of fluffy on my penguin's hats. And then blending that out with the blender again. So now I have my white gel pen, just adding some highlights and accents to my image, just giving it some fun look to it. And then I will remember that I wanted to add some cute little cheeks. So I'm going to grab my blush, add cheeks, and then also bring out that white gel pen just to add a little highlight on the cheeks. Okay, so now we can move on to our background. These are some new products also released today. We have the Slimline Tapered Layers die set on the left, and then the Slimline Tapered Frames die in the middle, and the new Diagonal Dots Slimline Embossing folder on the right. So I took the second largest of the layers and die cut this tapered white cardstock piece, and then I'm taking my embossing folder and this metallic gold ink pad. It's a very sheen metallic gold color from scrapbook.com, and I'm placing my cardstock piece inside of my embossing folder, and I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, and it's going to give me kind of a faux letterpress look of gold dots from my Diagonal Dot Slimline embossing folder, and I really like just this subtle touch of it, but I want some splatter, so I'm going to grab my metallic watercolors, and I'm going to take this kind of yellow gold with my water and paintbrush and splatter it over. So I got to get enough water to make sure I have a nice splatter, so I will do this a few times until I get finally some good droplets onto my background. And because it is embossed, some of the water kind of forms to the circles, and I really liked it. It just kind of gave it a fun, probably as close to mixed media look that I'm ever going to do. And once that's dry, I also die cut from the Slimline Tapered Frame die out of some gold metallic paper, and I'm taking the largest of those frames and I'm going to place it around my embossed piece. So it's slightly larger, which is nice, so that way I know that it will hide perfectly the edge of the white because it's smaller than the outside edge of my frame, but larger than the inside, if that makes sense. So I have a card front out of some kind of cherry red cardstock, and I'm gluing my embossed piece to the center of that just with some wet glue. There's a lot of texture on there, so I want to make sure that it's really on there. So I'm grabbing my MISTI just to help me add some even pressure. And then I'm going to take my frame and I'm going to line the whole back side with my 1/8 inch foam tape from scrapbook.com, my favorite go-to foam tape, and I'm going to place that so it frames my background. I'm really liking this. It kind of has a mod feel to it, very mod Christmas. So now I know I want my critters to go on the right, but I want to add a sentiment on the left, and I thought it'd be fun to bring in more gold. So I took that center piece from the frames die, and I also die cut the word Merry out of some kind of holly green cardstock that matched the JG colors that I used for my image, the bell ribbon as well as the bag. I thought they looked really nice together. So once I have everything kind of figured out where it's going to go, I'm going to start gluing. So I'm taking my wet glue and I'm going to glue down that gold piece to the center of my card, but slightly to the bottom. You'll see right here. And then I'm going to take my foam strips and I'm going to cover the back of my critters. I'm just going to cover the whole thing. I want it to be the same level as my frame, so I use the same tape, and then I'm going to apply that to the right side of my card, right where that gold strip ends. Now for the Mary, I felt like it was missing something. I felt like it got a little lost in the background, so I'm going to bring out my white gel pen and just add some fun highlights on the letters. There really is no rhyme or reason to where I'm placing the highlight. I'm not looking for where my light would hit the letters. I'm just adding something to it to make it really stand out more and not get so lost in my background. So here is the word Mary. I'm making sure I have it centered by using my grid mat and looking at the gold paper on my card, and I'm going to start gluing the letters down. So I'm using my tweezers as well as a fine tip glue, and I'm just going to glue each of these letters down until I have the word Mary attached. So my Y is a little crooked, so I'll fix that real quick. But that's what I really like about this die cut, is that they're kind of imperfect looking letters, so if they're a little wonky, it's totally fine. Finally, I have this new sparkle blend called Ivory Elegance, and it is stunning. I absolutely love the colors. It has ivory in there, as the name suggests, but there's also a subtle rose gold as well as yellow gold in there, but not like yellow gold, if that makes sense. It's kind of more of a cooler toned gold. So I really love this mix, and I thought it went really well with the gold on this card. But of course I couldn't stop there. I really wanted more color, so I'm bringing out my pops of color from scrapbook.com, and I'm adding some green. I believe it's called Holly, so it's matching perfectly with what I have so far. I also have my red that I'm applying in different spots as well. And finally, I will do the glitter gold. And there's a lot of embellishments on here, but I really like it. I think it added a lot of fun because of the circles in my embossed background. Just adding these little drops made it really pop off the background. I'm going to take my tweezers and just tap the back to help dome out each of those little drops instead of the Hershey Kiss look to them. And here is my card. I am going to glue it to a card base later on, but I have to wait for my pops of color to dry. So here's a final look at my card front. I hope you check out all of the new Whimsy Stamps released today. You can use my links down below in the description to check out the new items as well as everything I used to make this card. I hope you'll click like if you enjoyed this, and if you're new, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.